to Let's Talk Early Years, where we bring you wonderful, insightful, and impactful conversations all about the early years. In studio with me today, Zalat, sharing on a conversation I think every educator would be keen to be a part of: early years inclusivity and inclusion. Welcome in studio, Zalat.
Thank you, Melanie. Thank you
I
so
am
much for inviting
so
me.
grateful, so
Thank you.
excited.
I'm super excited as well to be with you. Thank you.
May, tell our audience, who is Zalat?
So I'm May. I'm from Egypt, and I started the journey of the early years since 2008 when I was on the third year of college. I started, to be honest with you, at the beginning. I just loved being around the children. I loved playing with them, enjoying my time with them. Then, 11 years ago, or 12 years ago, everything changed. And it all started actually, or everything changed my journey when I gave birth to my first child who has Down syndrome. He opened my eyes for a lot of things, to be honest with you. And since that time, 11 years ago, I'm in the journey of inclusion, in the nurseries, inclusion in community, inclusion in sports, inclusion in general.
I love it.
Thank you.
What a proactive mom and educator approach.
To be honest, it helped me that I was in the early years.
Yes.
And it's all because of my son. It all started because of him, bless him. But after that, I was like, no, it's not only him. So at the beginning, he was in a nursery, a great nursery. I was working there. And I put him in a class with a great teacher that I know her. She's a great teacher. She didn't know how to deal with him.
Of course.
And that was an eye-opener for me because, okay, what do I have to do to include my own son?
Yes.
So I started doing training myself as a mom. I started reading and I started studying and I started to know what's going on. And I started training only his teacher. And after that teacher, her name is Miss Fiona, I love her.
Bless her.
Bless her. She was like, May, you're a very good trainer. Why don't you train everyone? So, because I wanted everything to be the right way, so I started studying to be a qualified trainer from Kash, to be able to train everyone or all the teachers in the nursery.
Right. And May, I want to take you back to how receptive was the nursery school in receiving your child as a part of the classroom community?
To be honest with you, maybe because I was working there, it was easy for me.
Right.
But sometimes now, and not with everyone, of course, we have a great awareness now in all the nurseries, but sometimes what we hear is that the teacher is scared, or the nursery, they say that our teachers are not trained or qualified enough to welcome your child.
Right. And that's fair enough.
And that's fair enough.
Yeah.
Or they will welcome the child, but he will be like adding another number, but he's not really fully included inside the class.
Right.
So I was lucky enough, I have to say, because I was working there. But the other part that I had to work on training myself as a mom and the team as well on how to approach him.
Right. And how easy was it for you to find the resources as a parent at the time? How easy was it for you to find resources on how to deal with him, how to include him into the classroom setting?
It wasn't that easy,
Right.
to be honest. 11 years ago, it wasn't that easy.
Right.
Google, you'll find only negative resources, which is really upsetting as a mom, not as a professional.
Right.
So what really supported me, the community of other moms that they have older children.
Right.
So they will tell me, we went to that course and it was really beneficial. We studied that online and it was really...
As parents.
As parents,
Right.
that's what really supported me, the community of the parents.
Right.
And at the same time as well, I was looking for training that we can do, and that's what I'm talking 11 years ago. And that's why when I had the opportunity now, 2 years ago, to do an initiative to give free training for the teachers, because if I'm working in one nursery, you're working in one nursery, we will do our best for these nurseries, but what about the rest?
Yes.
Inclusion, I don't want it to be only for related to one of the nurseries. No, it has to be in all the nurseries, but the teachers, they are not in all the nurses, they are given the opportunity to go to training or
Right.
CPDs.
Right.
So that's why I was like, let us do something. And to be honest with you, it's a success because everyone I approach, they will be super happy to do it for free because it's for free, it's a free training,
Yeah.
and they're always welcoming and they're always happy with the idea. So I'm really happy to be within that community, to be honest with you, and proud.
Our community is really grateful to you, May, for extending that resource. Absolutely. So I want to extend the invitation to our audience, May. Where can they find you and access the free training for inclusion for early years education?
So we have a page on Instagram. It's called IECE. IECE, it's Inclusion in Early Childhood Education, and we're posting there all the time. Sometimes we do it in Arabic, sometimes we do it in English, but it's not me who are delivering because I believe that I cannot be expert in all the aspects. So we're getting ABA therapists, we're getting speech, we're getting consultant, we're getting quality assurance. So we're getting everyone, they're experts in their field,
yes.
and they are the one who are giving the training on, because inclusion as well, it's not, this is something, it's a misconception that we have, not all of us of course, but some of us have, is that it's only related to children of determination, but it's not. Now, living in Dubai and living in the UAE, we have a lot of children who are coming from China, Russia, even Egypt, and the English is their second language and they don't know English at all maybe, and they come, they put them in a British nursery or in a French nursery, they have no clue. That child has to be under the inclusion department. Why? Because I need to work on him. How will I include him? How will I make him feel comfortable in a class that doesn't speak his language? He will be, other children, they are just shy. I had a little girl in one of the nurseries, and she wasn't talking and or communicating at all. So we had the observation, we had everything, and this is time to talk to the parents. When we spoke to the parent, they start showing us videos. She's dancing, talking, having conversation. The only thing is that she's shy. She wasn't confident enough to have a conversation with us. That's us as well as inclusion. We have to know how to include her, how to make her confident, how to make her feel like comfortable to talk with us, request things, talk and play with her peers, right? So inclusion is not only for children of determination. This is something I'm always emphasizing on. So our training, it's not only for speech or OT. No, it covers everything in early years.
I love that.
It covers as well behavior. We have a lot of children who have behavioral issues, right? He will throw a tantrum and teacher will tell me, I don't know what happened. I was like, there is a reason. Maybe it's as simple as communication.
Yes.
Maybe as simple as you took him outside of the class, you didn't explain that he's going to change his nappy, so he doesn't know where is he going.
Right.
So a lot of things that we are working on to make not only children of determination included, but each child feels valued and included in his class.
Absolutely, I love that. So just again, your Instagram handle?
IECE.
I love it.
Yes.
I love it, May. And I'm hearing from you saying that this is ongoing. It's ongoing training.
Yes.
It's ongoing conversations that you're exposing our practitioners and leaders to, so that we all come together and have an inclusive perspective.
Exactly. I'm always saying that inclusion, it's a journey. It's not a destination. I cannot say in any of the nurseries, I cannot say, now I'm an inclusive nursery, I've done everything. It will never be the same.
Yes.
We have to keep learning. We have to keep training our staff, training ourselves as well, because we don't know everything. And each child is different as well. So if I have 3 children who have Down syndrome, I cannot approach them the same way because they are 3 totally different persons.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yes.
So for each child, I have actually to train the teachers on how to deal specifically with that child in her class.
Right. So how important is it in early years now in Dubai that we do have a minimum of 1 trained educator in special education? Yeah, do you
100%.
think?
At least 1 in a center.
Yeah.
It depends, of course, on the budget, the nurseries and the budget and everything. But if you have one of the teachers, one of the teacher assistant as well.
Right.
And one of some of the nurseries, we have the teacher assistant. They are the same coordinators and they're doing great. The most important thing in inclusion, this is what I'm saying, is to be passionate about. Because if I want to be a Senko, but I don't like to be with them on the ground. I don't like to go and observe them. I cannot hear screaming. It is difficult. It's not as easy as we're talking. So they have to be very passionate about what they are doing and very passionate about the children, all the children.
I think it's an additional vocation. We always speak about teaching being a vocation, but I think adding a Senko to your repertoire of qualifications is an added.
Of course.
Yeah. But I also, May, last week on the podcast, we spoke about teachers being superheroes, and we spoke about, how we always feel the pressure of giving of our best selves. And I find that in this particular area of inclusion, we want to give so much, but we're just so lacking in the ability or the knowledge or the resources to actually accommodate the children, as you've said earlier. So I think it would be really beneficial, like you say, to have a SEN coordinator, a TA, a teacher. If everybody can, I suppose, wonderful,
that would be awesome,
so we can identify the children in our classes. What would that look like on the ground, though, May? What would be the job of the SEN coordinator in the nursery school?
So it start with the teacher first, because teacher she's the one who's spending most of the time with the children. Then when the teacher she comes and to the SEN coordinator and she'll tell her, like, for example, I have. We don't like to call it red flag, but we have, for example, I want you to come to observe one of the children. I feel like in development there is a gap or something. Then she will go and she will do the observation. We have like another observation, not the observation that we do for the rest of the classroom. And she will start seeing, for example, yes, there is a huge gap, that there are normal gaps, and in education early, especially 6 to 9, maybe 12 months. Sometimes it happens, so it's not that big deal, and we're always telling the parent it will come.
Yes.
It takes
the
takes
unique
time.
child.
Exactly.
Yes.
But some gaps they are concerning. When we have concerning gaps, then the inclusion specialist, SEN coordinator, inclusion specialist, they will step in and they will start observing the child to have their own observation, to start talking with the parents. Because I cannot talk with the parents and telling them, I think or I feel. No, we have to send them, or we have to show them proofs that these are the observations that we have done for them. And this is something else that I like to talk about, our relation with the parent. It's really important, because previously, which is so sad, that the parents, they see us that we are going to talk about their child, so we want him to be out of the nursery, because it was happening with other children, for example. So now they are very defensive. We don't want that.
Yes.
We want to build a strong rapport with the parents, because we are there for the child.
Absolutely.
We will never tell you take your child out, because by law we are not allowed if we didn't try our best.
Right.
But if we tried everything, sometimes it's the best place for the child to be in an early intervention center, for example. It depends on the child's uniqueness as well. But we want to show the parents that we are here for you, we are here for the child, and that's why let's work together toward that.
Right. May, I want to also ask you, having had your little one in the nursery, and you said you were very fortunate at the time, 11 years ago, have you seen the landscape in early years education related to inclusivity grow? Have you seen?
Wow.
Have we?
Huge growth.
Yeah.
The awareness we have now, the teachers, the mindset of the teachers, of the nursery managers, it all changed. We are welcoming all the children now, and I mean it, all the children. Yes. And I don't see it only in one nursery, for example. No, we see it in a lot of nurseries. And we see as well, when I did the IECE, we have a WhatsApp group for the inclusion specialists or a head of inclusions to talk about what, only in early years, what do they have. And they are so eager to know. And this is what I believe in. I cannot... One of the nurses can be outstanding in something and the rest no. We are all here to support each other. We are all here to show each other what worked with me, what didn't work.
I love that. It's called an abundance mindset, May. I love that. I love that. We often speak about it on the podcast, that our community is so small,
100%.
but we're such a rich community, particularly in Dubai where we're at.
Exactly.
We have so many specialists. We have so many people from
experts,
diverse backgrounds,
exactly.
So many languages, that it would be a disservice to the early years industry
Collaborate.
if we did not collaborate, if we did not bring together all of our expertise to grow one another and to make centers of excellence and to make practitioners that are excellent and leaders that are excellent. So I'm really grateful to hear you say that we've grown and the landscape has expanded. What do you think brought that about? Do you think
I
it's
think
just
the parents,
need? Just
it's the need, and the parents now they are more encouraged to send their children to the nursery.
yes.
I'm talking now about children of determination.
Yes.
Previously, they will tell you, no, he will start at center from the beginning or a special needs center from the beginning. But now they are encouraged to do so.
Yes.
And I had, for example, when I was a center director, I had a mom. And she's an adorable mom. She will know herself. She came, it was during COVID. She knocked at the door. She was like, I heard that the center director of this nursery has a child who has Down syndrome, and my child has Down syndrome. Will you welcome him? I was like, even if I don't have,
Yes.
it's my pleasure to have him.
Yes.
And at that time, this boy, he should be in the class of 2 to 3, but he was still crawling. She told me all the other nurses, they wanted to put him in a toddler's class or infant class. I told her I'll put him with his peers and we'll take care of him. We'll put extra support, and it worked. And now he's at school, bless him.
Wow.
And everything is going perfectly. And believe me, this boy who has Down syndrome, he didn't need extra support. More other children that they had speech delay or they had behavioral issues. They needed more support for us. They need more attention.
Wow.
He was absolutely fine in the class.
Yes.
So-
I think that can be a question also in terms of the leadership of the nursery schools when you're saying they might be prone to excluding children from the setting. Is this going to require additional resources?
Exactly.
You know, that fear that, okay, I would need to expend an additional
Additional
staff member.
Yes.
Yes.
If it's doable, of course,
Yeah.
we can do it, and we're always happy to do it. Sometimes we need extra support for that child, and that's why we go back to the parent and we ask them if they can support us.
Right.
Because at the end of the day, it's for the child.
Yes.
It's for his benefit.
And how receptive are parents to doing that, mate, to bringing in their own paid coordinator or trained a person to come and assist their child in the setting? Are parents open to
I'll
that?
tell
or-
you something. I have to be honest. Not all the parents,
Right.
but because we are all different.
Right.
I'll tell you something. My son is 11 years old. If you go now and you tell my husband, his dad, because he has Down syndrome, he's doing that, he will be upset. He'll say, "Don't say that." So some parents, it's really as well difficult on the parents to hear like, your child needs support, he needs one-to-one. It's really different.
It
So
is.
on the way you are saying it,
Right.
and I'm always emphasizing on to be the positivity that you're having. Put yourself in his shoes or on her shoes because it's really difficult. It's not easy.
Yeah.
So sometimes, yes, the parents will say, no. For speech delay, for example, no, I spoke when I was 5 years old. He's absolutely fine. When that happened, we will still, of course, having the child, and we'll still have IEP internally.
Right.
So we'll have individual education plan only internally for us, for the teachers, junior educators, and the center director and the SENCO. So we'll try our best. But if they are cooperative, some parents they send the children or they register the children to the nursery and they have concerns already. And these are the easier ones for sure because we'll say, okay, let's have an assessment. Let's have an early intervention center. They'll come to our nursery. They will do the assessment. Let's see what does he need.
I'm hearing you say transparency from the
Exactly.
parents' side.
100%.
Yeah.
It's really important.
Yes.
We want the parents to understand that we're really here for them. We will never come and tell you we don't want your children in the nursery. We'll never do that. But we are here. You have to be honest with us.
Yes.
We want to work. So what we're doing now with the children that they go to therapists, for example, or under the inclusion department, we meet with them on monthly basis. Parents, therapists as well, and us as a nursery to see what the therapists are doing with them. And the beauty of, I'm always saying, the beauty of early years is that the gap between the children, it will never be huge. So that's why all the activities that the therapists are doing in the one-to-one session, we can do it in our class,
Absolutely.
in a group session.
Yes.
And the child will be benefits from that and all the other children.
Absolutely.
So this is the main message I want to send to the parents, that we are just here for you and for your children.
May I also would love to know if you've seen a phenomenal increase in awareness from the children's perspective, from being with your son in the classroom, how receptive were the other children in the classroom? Did they know that he had any additional needs? Did they know that he was perhaps different in certain areas? Please share with me, please.
So, young age, like infant and toddler, they would not notice.
Right.
The children are playing together, they are
Yes.
happily playing together.
Yes.
FS1 and FS2, they will start notice, but still, they don't have anything positive, negative toward the child.
Right.
So you'll feel always included.
Yes.
The exclusivity sometimes it comes from the adult.
Other adults.
Yeah, unfortunately. Like for example, if someone says, don't say no to him so he doesn't bite you.
Oh,
That I'm scaring the other child, but maybe he
Yes.
doesn't do that.
Yes.
Maybe it's only communication. Maybe I can explain it in a different way.
Yes.
So it's the way that we are communicating, and it's everything is about role modeling to the children, right? Mirroring. They see how I'm dealing with him or with the other children, and it's the same.
Yeah.
Like for example, I have another child, a younger child. So the difference between boys, there are 3 years, and now the youngest. He's the one who will explain to his friends, not now because now they all know his brother, but when he was in year 1 or year 2, why they will tell him why he doesn't talk at that time, why he wasn't talking. It's like he's still learning. It's very difficult for him. He's still learning. That's why we take him to a speech therapist. The first time I heard that, I was like, oh my gosh.
I love that.
The children really, they
Positive
are taking
language.
exactly, and they're
Yes.
taking everything from us.
Yes.
He can say because he has Down syndrome.
Yes.
That's another fact, but it's a
Yes.
very negative fact.
Yes.
But what he said that he's learning, and that's why we take him to a speech therapist.
Yes.
So it all comes from us. How we communicate with the children and how we communicate with each other in front of the children, because even if we are not directly communicating with the children, they are taking everything from
Yes,
us.
they're taking your energy, they're overhearing
Exactly.
your conversations and internalizing those words.
100%.
I'm hearing you say so many things that are so positive, and I'm so excited about the wonderful impact and that the knowledge, that our parent community is garnering even amongst themselves and then from the nursery schools. It's very encouraging to know that, May. On the other side of the conversation, where are the gaps? How can we better improve, for want of a better phrase, how can we improve as nursery schools, as settings, as managers, as leaders? How can we create a more inclusive
The most important thing that I'm always emphasizing on the training.
training?
Training and training and training.
Right.
Training, and because as I mentioned earlier, not all the children are the same. Not all the children who are on the spectrum, I can approach them the same way. Or all the children who have speech delay, I can approach them the same way. We want the teachers, and we want to build that in the teachers to change their mindset.
Yes.
To feel like really, if I believe as a teacher that I have to approach each child really individually, I would not feel if I have 2 children of determination in my class or 2 children that they need support, because anyway, I'm approaching all of them individually.
Right.
Did you get my point?
Right.
Just to work on their mindset and to have people who are really passionate. And that's why I think changing the mindset comes from the training. Not only training about what to do when this happens or what to do when this happens. No, leadership training. How you deal with others. What's the impact of what you're doing actually. Did you get my point?
Communication. There's so much there, because I want to say also that for leaders, I would say to ensure that we are within the ratios in the classrooms.
Of course, that's
so
really
that we
important.
so that we are providing the hands-on support for those educators. I think it could be a huge challenge for them and a huge point of stress for them, if there's just not enough hands, because when you're concerned with the logistics of can we keep everybody safe? You get me?
100%.
That mindfulness is perhaps not there. That intentional teaching and learning is perhaps not there because we're operating in a different part of our brains.
100%.
So if there's enough people in the classroom.
I totally agree with you, to be honest with you, because sadly, which happens most of the time, is that if you have one junior educator, for example, or one teacher assistant in the class, and she's changing the nappy for 20 children in the class, so she's most of the day in the toilet, so you will be left out with 19 children. So that's out of ratio, of course. This is This is a huge concern, to be honest with you, and not all the nurseries are happy to support with that. This is another gap that we can talk about it for hours, because yes, it's safety of the children first of all. It's not only because there is a child that who needs attention. For all the children.
For all of the children.
So I cannot go because sometimes someone will come and tell me, oh, because I have 2 children on termination in this class, that's why I need extra support. I don't need extra support for them. Actually, other children, they need extra support.
Yes.
But because the ratio should be right. If I have one teacher assistant going most of the time or most of the day in the toilet, we have to have someone with the teacher. She cannot control 19 children or 18 children.
Yes.
So I totally agree with you. It's really important to make sure the ratios are there. Even if there is a floater, when the teacher assistant is out, so she will be from a class to another, they can solve it. There is a lot of other solutions we can do, but the ratio has to be a proper ratio.
I also heard you saying about management and leadership. If you're saying as an educator, what would that look like in terms of those children in my classroom?
Sorry, I didn't get you.
You were speaking previously and saying we need training.
Yes.
And you were saying we need training on management. So as the teachers, how do we best manage those children without the relevant qualifications? Because we're assuming that not everybody. So what are some strategies you can give us, May?
So the most important thing for her to know that child, if we're talking about the child who's under the inclusion, children of determination or speech delay or behavior issues, to know exactly, to really know the child. When I know the child, his strength and his weaknesses, I will know how to deal with him. And it's really important as well when you were talking about ratio. When I have 18 children, I have 2 children who have behavioral issues, for example, or problematic issues, I will not be able to control them because maybe one of them, he wants attention. So he will bite another child for the teacher to get attention, but she's with other 16 children.
Yes.
So, and that's what I'm talking about the leadership of the teachers. She's the leader of her class. That's what I'm always telling my teachers, that you are the leader of your class. You are leading your team, you are leading the children with activities, with resources, with everything. So they have to manage it in a way that, for example, if they are taking one child, she can take 2 or 3 other children with her, for example, if it's possible, for sure. And we have to make sure that we have already learning areas that they are exciting for the children. We have tabletop activities, so they are busy. We make sure that when I know as a teacher all the children, so I will know, for example, with these 2 boys or 2 girls, what do they like? They like Play-Doh. I'll set up a Play-Doh for them. So, and these corners, I don't have to remove them. Keep them the whole day.
Yeah.
No one will come and tell you remove the tabletop activity or the main. If you want them, for example, lunchtime or snack time, we can have 2 other tables and they can go.
Available to them to access.
But
yes.
they have to have all the resources and all the activities accessible for them all the time, because once they're bored, once they feel like I have nothing to do,
These
or
could
start
be
pulling,
triggers.
exactly,
Yes.
start pulling hair, biting, having tantrums. So we have to prevent all these things. We have to be ready for them to prevent all these.
Preemptive, yes, and
Exactly.
prepared. So we're talking about a prepared classroom, a prepared educator coming in, a prepared team. In terms of resources, May, I'm assuming there are no special resources
Nothing,
that are
no.
going to be required.
Believe me, some children, they're obsessed with the ants.
Ants?
Take them to the garden. Let's count the ants.
Yes.
Why not?
Yes.
They're obsessed with leaves. They're obsessed. Let's use what we have in the environment. I don't have to get really fancy resources for the children to be in the class. Not at all.
Yeah.
We can use anything we have in the environment and we'll take it from there. But from knowing the children, I'm always emphasizing from knowing the children, I will know what do they like.
Yeah. I want to say that knowing the children begins with that initial meeting, not only for learners with additional needs, but for every single child, begins with perhaps receiving a all about me form at their registration. It begins with perhaps having a one-on-one meeting with the parent before the child starts, to get to know the child. And I mean, this can be a 15-minute Zoom meeting or a 15-minute introduction to your classroom where the parent comes in and you get to know their individual and their unique child. And I think that's the place where you said we want to highlight if there are additional needs, if there are anything that parents are concerned with, and we can then be prepared when the child comes into the class
100%.
that we can accommodate this. So this is not rocket science, May.
It's not.
It's a
so
tentativeness,
simple,
yes.
But again, with the mindset of you want, you're eager to do that.
Yes.
And as I said earlier, inclusion is not only about children of termination, it's about including each child in the
Yes.
classroom.
Yes.
So I'll tell you something happened with me this academic year with my youngest. He's in year 4 now. So his teacher is a new teacher. At the beginning of the year, he told me, okay, what sport does he do? I told him football. Which teams? I told him Barcelona. He was like, okay. He took the information that he asked me. It's not all about me. It's not a form. But he asked me the question he wanted. He went to school the first day he came. Oh my gosh, Mr. Nile is the best. He likes Barcelona like me. And so they clicked from the first day, and he's in year 4. So it's not only about children.
Yes.
It's not only about early years, I mean.
Yeah.
It's not only about children of determination. All the children, they need to feel valued. They need to feel included. He
Yes.
felt like he clicked with his teacher from the first day, and he was,
Absolutely.
wow, he
Yeah.
loves going to school.
Yeah.
It's really important. It's really important, like us when we go to work and you feel like you clicked with someone because there is a common area between you. There is a common, I don't know, sports or interest. You feel like I'm happy to
You're
go
valued,
to talk.
you're respected, you're accepted.
And included as well.
Yes.
So it's really important to do that, not only in early years, in school as well. And
Yeah.
even when they grow. Sometimes, bless them, we feel like, khalas, he's 15, he's 16, he's old enough. But really, that age, they still need to feel included. They still
Yes.
need that they have this connection between them and their teachers, teacher assistant, and everyone in school.
May,
as
you
well.
just said it, even as adults, we want to
We
feel
all need
included.
it.
Yeah, we
Exactly.
want to feel valued.
Valued.
Yes,
100%.
absolutely. May, we've seen a shift in our schools over the last few years into a more play-based curriculum. How has this been? I know that it's positive. I can only tell that it's going to be positive for our learners with additional needs. How have you seen this impacting our children?
It's impacting all the children
Right.
as well.
Yes.
So play-based, it's really important. I'm a good believer in play-based. Why? Because you leave the child the opportunity, or you give him the opportunity to go to find his interest. And from his interest, once I'm happy with something as an adult as well, once I love, for example, I don't know, Barbie, and you got me, or you start telling me, did you see the movie? I will just click as like, yes, I saw the movie.
Right.
It's the same with the children. So when I have all the resources, for example, I have construction area, I have the cars, I have blocks, and he starts, for example, building something. What are you building? You start telling me Burj Khalifa. How long, how tall is Burj Khalifa? Let's count how many blocks. So all these things, it comes from the interest of the child. For example, on the opposite side, if I have a worksheet, I'll tell him, for example, count for me 1, 2, 3. And it happens in some of the nurseries still, this is the mindset that we want to change. Why we're doing that? For example, why we're letting them play and learning through play? Because that will give them more time, they give them opportunity to be creative,
Yes.
to use their imagination.
Exploratory play.
Exactly.
Yes.
Use their imagination. The same blocks, they can make it as a road, they can make it as a Burj Khalifa, they can make a car. So we want those children to be creative and imaginative. In 20 years, robots took over already. Now when you go to do and at the Zalat, they are welcoming you. So in
Yes.
20 years, robots will take over everything, most of the things. So we want to raise children who will be actually leaders, or who will find work in 20 years. We want them to be creative. We want them to do things that robots cannot do.
Yes, I love that. I love that your vision is for the future, even from the perspective of early years education.
100%. I think it all starts with us. With us, I mean
Absolutely.
early years
Yes.
and early years foundation, like early years leaders and teachers. I think we are the foundation of those children. If you raise them well, the positivity, the way they're thinking, the way you're talking, everything, it will go with them the
I
whole
love
year.
it. May, your energy is so positive.
Thank you.
Our community is just better for having you in it,
Bless
May.
you. Thank you,
I'd like
Melanie.
you to share last words.
I would say inclusion, as I said earlier, inclusion is not a destination, it's a journey, and it's a beautiful journey. So we would like you to be with us in this journey, and we are here all the time. Myself, Melanie, a lot of other leaders, just to support each other and to learn from each other. I will learn from you, you will learn from me, only for the best of the children.
Thank you, May.
Thank you so
Such
much.
a wonderful
Melanie.
pleasure.
It was a pleasure. Thank you.
And finally, we got to chat.
I know.
Yeah, it's such a long time. I'm like, we need to chat. We need to
Bless
get
you.
together. And here we are finally. May, I'm excited about the free training and the free access you're giving to educators.
To be honest, it came to my mind that when I'm in my current nursery, I feel like it's very difficult to get the teacher assistant to training because they are all the time in the classroom. Bless them.
Yes.
So I felt like, okay, let me start doing something after working hours, 7 to 8. Then I start because I have this WhatsApp group, so I have other people from other companies. They were like, but we want our staff to attend. I was like, why not then?
Yes.
So let me do it outside of my work. Let me do it with IECE.
Yes.
And let whoever wants to attend. And believe me, each session we have 300 attendees. Once we had 400. So
I don't see that you're scared of leaving
Bless
Blossom.
you.
I think you've got something.
They are
coming.
happy to join, and they are happy to learn. And this is the perfect thing. If you have 400 attendees that they are willing to learn and they have this mindset, they're
Shows
very
you the
passionate,
need. Yeah.
believe me, they will do great on the ground.
Yes.
These are the people that we want to invest in.
Yes, May, I'm excited for
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you
Thank
so
you for
much.
the value you're
Bless
bringing.
you.
Yeah.
Bless you. Thank you for having me, Melanie.
What an insightful and interesting conversation today on the podcast with May Zalat. I'm sure you'll agree with me that we've all benefited tremendously from her insight. If any part of our conversation has resonated with you, I would love to hear your feedback. You can find me on Let's Talk Early Years on Instagram. Our episodes air weekly on YouTube, on Apple Podcasts, and Spotify. This is Let's Talk Early Years, and I'll see you next time.